Stone ballot. First problem taken care of.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is now called to order. Staff announcements.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body established by the Board of County Commissioners under Chapter 62, Article 2, Division 4 of the Brevard County Code. The Board of Adjustment is empowered to hear the request for variances to the zoning regulation and sign regulation in Chapter 62, Article 6, and Article 9. Pursuant to the Florida Rules of Appellate Procedure, any person or persons jointly or severally aggrieved by any decision of the Board of Adjustment may, within 30 days after the date the order is signed, apply to a court of competent jurisdiction for appropriate relief. Ms. Chairman, you have 4 items on your agenda today.
Correct. Second reading.
Yes, Ms. Chairman. A variance may be granted when it will not be contrary to the public interest and where, owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the provisions of this chapter will result in unnecessary and undue hardship. The term undue hardship has a specific legal definition in this context and essentially means that without the requested variance, the applicant will have no reasonable use of the subject property under existing development regulations. Personal medical reasons shall not be considered as grounds for an establishing undue hardship sufficient to qualify an applicant for a variance. Economic reasons may be considered only in instances where the landowner cannot yield a reasonable use and/or a reasonable return under the existing land development regulations. The applicant must answer a variance hardship worksheet with 6 questions. The Board of Adjustment will discuss these questions today with each applicant who has requested a variance.
Thank you, Dr. Bass. Third reading, please, Mr. Humberg.
I will now address the board members, the applicants, and our audience regarding the board procedures for today's meetings. The Board of Zoning Adjustment as a quasi-judicial board with members appointed by the Brevard County Board of Commissioners will utilize Robert's Rules of Order to conduct its proceedings. The chair is asking all board members not to ask any questions while the applicants are making their presentations. Once the applicants have completed their presentation, we will begin board questioning with the board member who represents the applicant's current district. When concluded, questioning is open to the full board. The chair will recognize each board member in turn. Once all board members have completed their questioning, we will then open the floor to the audience who may be here to speak concerning the applicant's application. Anyone from the audience wishing to speak will be given the opportunity to address the board only once. At the conclusion of public comment, the applicant will be given additional time for rebuttal, as well to present their final comments. Once completed, no further comment will be heard from the applicant or the public. The action then moves to the board for discussion and final action. We will not use a timer for this meeting. Instead, we are asking each speaker to be concise in what they have to say. It is important that you stay on the subject and avoid information that is not relevant. All persons speaking must provide their name and address for the public record. Those wishing not to verbally state their address may ask the clerk at the podium for an address card. Please fill it out and return it to the clerk when you finish your comments. Thank you.
Meeting minutes. Any changes and motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Can we all say aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Applications for variance. Reading the application, Mr. Bodie, please.
Yes, Chairman. I'm going to read in application G4 first because the applicant has asked for it to be canceled, and that is Christopher and Lisa Mannion request variance for lot width required for an AU zoning classification. The application was 24V00029, and its tax accounts number 200768 and 20774 in District 1. And again, the applicant has asked for this to be canceled, so we won't be hearing it today. Application G1, Jack Kitchen, request variance to the front setback required for a structure and side setback for a principal structure in an RU-1-11 single-family zoning. The application is 24V00015. It's located at tax count number 2515226 in District 2.
May we please have the applicant come down to the podium? Good morning. I'd like to swear you in.
Okay,
Swear to tell the truth.
yes, I do. Okay. And Mr. Kitchen, the actual landowner, is here as well.
Okay.
And so,
Would he like to speak as well? You can come
He-
down
he
to the
may-
podium.
come on down.
And let me swear you in as well. You swear to tell the truth?
I will.
Okay. Present your case.
All right, Ms. Chairman, my name is Victor Watson. I'm a real estate attorney. My address is 3490 North US 1, Cocoa, Florida. I'm here representing the applicant, who's also here. We are requesting two variances for Mr. Kitchen's property. The first one is a 2.5-foot variance to the 7.5-foot side setback. He's got an open air covered area, and he'll have a column that's 5.5 feet from the side setback line rather than 7.5 feet. We've worked with the staff, shown them exactly what we've got. We've also filed a survey with the staff and I'll present that to you in just a minute. We also have letters from the neighbors. In particular, with regard to this first variance, we've got the neighbor over on that side who's in favor of allowing that, has no problem with it. The second variance is with regard to an accessory building to be built. This lot is first of all, it's in two parts on two sides of a cul-de-sac. One side is over the main structure where the house is, and then across the cul-de-sac is the second part of the lot. These have been joined together. They're one lot. And because it's on a cul-de-sac, it's an unusual shaped parcel, so that it's when you look at the setback, you go 20 feet back. It's a curved line going back. So we're just basically trying to straighten out that line. We're requesting a 9-foot variance to the 20-foot front setback requirement. Mr. Kitchen has a boat he wants to store there and use this property, basically just trying to fit the building to the lot. And we also have letters, and these were filed in the file. We weren't sure if you got them all, so we've got additional copies that we will file. We've got 3 letters, primarily as to the outbuilding, and then we've got a letter, from the adjacent neighbor with regard to the variance for the covered area. So present that. I'll give you the letters first, if that's all right.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. And you're aware that once we get these, we can't get them back, right?
We understand.
Okay, cool. Sounds
That's
good.
all right.
Let's see, was this, okay. Wait, do you guys not want to see them before I give them over? Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to take a look here, and then I'll pass them over to them when we're done. There you go.
Do we open up the floor for questions?
We'll open the floor for questions now, but we would like to see the letters as well. They were not in the packet.
They were not? Okay.
Right,
That was my question.
right. Dr. Bass, if you have any questions?
Get my mic on. Yes, I had a couple regarding question number 3. The answer was that other houses in the area are also covered with open porches. When was this development built? What year, please? Or this house, either one?
Jack Kitchen, homeowner, 1735 Via Roma, Bear Down, 3952. The current home was,
Speaking in the mic.
oh, sorry, the current home was reconstructed in 2019.
Make sure you talk into the microphone so. Is
that better?
Reconstructed, but when
So
was it?
the
when was-
original home, I think, was built in the early 80s, late 70s.
Okay,
That's when the neighborhood was developed, and the house was in disrepair, and a developer, I guess, bought it, tore it down, and rebuilt this house. I think they left one wall and some slabs, so it wasn't completely a new build. And we bought it new construction in February of 21.
so 1980.
Yeah, somewhere in that time frame, like late 70s, early 80s, the neighborhood was built.
My question is then, when you state in question 3, other houses in the area also have covered open-air porches. So my question is, did those people apply for a variance? Was this approved, or did they just do it in 1980 and without approval?
I'm not 100% sure. I think the point of when we wrote that was that there was actually a cover there, and it went into the 5-foot utility easement
But
as
it
well
could've-
as.
When was it done? What year?
It was done after I bought the house, because the guy who built it said it wasn't attached, and Paul pointed out that it should have been permitted or whatever, so we took it down. And so we're starting over, and we want to do it the right way. But with the 5-foot utility easement, we weren't able to set the poles at 7.5 and then have the 4-foot overhang that's normally allowed. So we're just asking to be able to set the poles at the 5.5 to give me some, grace there, so that that space is usable, because with the poles sitting back at 7.5 feet, it's right in the middle of the walkway.
My question really comes down to, did the other houses apply for variances? Are they legal, or were they done in 1980 when they just did it?
I would assume that it's just, they're legal and they were built new construction, and it's just the look of the porch is
In
common for the
1980,
area.
it was built, and then they applied for a variance because, for this.
Let me just clarify. I don't believe we're saying that, that they needed a variance. We're saying that there are also open,
Okay.
covered areas with the houses, but because of the layout of this house and the easement and so forth, and the wooden deck, we're just trying to tie in this overhang so that it fits to the deck and fits to the house and
Okay,
so forth.
I have a similar question on number 4, where you say other lots in the zoning classification are also able to use the width of their lots, construction up to the width of the side setback. So my question is basically the same. Did they get, was this different than your lot, or did they get a variance, or did they just do what they wanted to do? I'm just wondering.
Right. I think, again, in that situation, what we're saying is that it's not unusual to have these buildings around. What's unusual is that we're on this cul-de-sac with, which creates this setback. If you think about it, at the outer perimeter of the circle, the setback is back quite a bit compared to the sides, so that when we draw a straight line across, to have a straight line building rather than a curved building going around the setback, we come forward with relation to the road. So it's basically, in that front area. Off to the sides, it's okay, but in the front,
Okay, I
we
understand that.
encroach into the setback. We're not saying that, oh boy, everybody's got this exact same thing.
I understand that.
'Cause they
That's
don't
not
have
my
that.
question.
Okay.
On the notification of properties, did you notify all the property owners that you were going to apply for this variance?
Yes, I've talked to each neighbor individually, told them my whole plan, what I would love to do.
There's about 10 residents here that are required to be notified. I just wondered
Oh,
if you notified them all.
Since when we got that notice, it had the highlighted houses around it, I wasn't aware, I just went to the adjacent property owners originally. There's 2 more that I was able to see yesterday, once I looked at the packet, I finally got the thing downloaded, and I was able to talk to them, and we were kind of a close.
So you only asked the ones that are number 1 and number 10 on the guide, which is adjoining your property, number 7, and 10 and 11. So 1, 10, and 11 are the only ones that you notified?
Let me see here. So it'd be number 10, number 4, number 5, that's where the letters are from those homeowners. Number 1, she's a traveling nurse. I've met her once in 2 years, and she has not been in town since we started all of this. I spoke to number 11. He wrote the letter for the porch on the side. He's also aware that I'm trying to build the accessory building, has no issue with it. I talked to number 8, his name's Ken, and number 6 his name's Brian, his wife, yesterday. And I was like, hey, I'm having a meeting tomorrow. I didn't know you guys were and they all got letters. And she goes, yeah, we got the letter, kind of do what you want. Like, no one really
All right,
has
so,
any heartache on it.
I mean, I believe the.
Number 5, which has an adjoining property to yours, has not been notified?
Yes, and that's one of the letters, sorry. It's 10, 4, and 5 are the letters for the accessory building. 1 was the only one that touched that area that I wasn't able to get an actual letter from or speak with.
Yeah. And they all would have received notice from the staff. I mean, they all received notice. Is that correct, Mr. Bodie? They get the letter, the staff
Yes, we
sends the
have
letter out.
Everybody within 200 feet has sent a letter out.
Okay, that's basically my question, yes,
Okay.
thank you. That completes my questioning.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Humberg?
Yes, I have one question. The garage you're going to build?
That you got
Can you
your
make
mic's
sure you
not on.
talk into your microphone?
I'm
that
talking
it's
to
on?
myself. The garage you're going to build, do you happen to have a diagram?
It's this
Or
one.
from a CAD or CAD drawing or anything?
survey put the proposed.
Look at this.
I believe that's in the package.
Yeah, I'd like to see a different one, though.
This is a little larger, and you can.
Yeah, that's good, thank you. So is it a standalone garage
Yes.
with power and all that jazz?
That's the plan, yeah.
Okay, here, thank you so much, yeah.
Oh, we have to keep that?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's fine. We've got other copies.
Yep. Did you all want to see this before I give it up?
I have it in my package.
Oh, perfect. I just want to make sure before I hand it over.
No, I'm good,
Any other questions?
no.
Madam Chair. So I'm curious just on the property itself. It's obviously very unique because they're separated parcels. When you purchased the property, they were already together? Is that my understanding? Or did you buy both separately and combine them?
Long story short, we
Or
bought.
that you're talking into the
I'm sorry.
microphone so they can
The
pick
long,
it up.
long and short of it is, we actually bought 1725,
Okay.
which is next door. And in the process of that, we didn't like that someone could put junk in front of our new house kind of thing.
Sure.
So we split it, and we're able to use some of the current codes to rejoin it. You know, Vic helped with that.
Yeah.
And so it became one lot. And then, once we all kind of had it, and the guy that was next door that we bought it from was like, yeah, I was going to build a building over there, and yada, 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 and said he had kind of started the process.
Sure.
And said that it was doable.
Okay.
And hindsight's 2020,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So that's where we came into we got to ask for permission. You know, it's not wasn't as cut and dry as he
Sure, well,
advertised it. Yeah.
As it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, because he started talking about the road was bigger than it was supposed to be, so the setback's only 15 feet from the road, really, and, you know, whatever. So that was pretty close to what I was looking. I was like, no, it's, you know, we got the survey. Nope, it's 20 feet. It's halfway into the lot. And I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
sucks.
I understand. So by putting those together, because the piece, just to talk out loud with what's going on, it's looking at again, keeping the integrity of the neighborhood on it. It was obviously a vacant lot, or it had this one shed. It's a shed?
Yeah.
And it had that on there when you purchased it?
Yeah, and we got that part of it, and so it's got tools in it now.
Yeah, and then obviously you're trying to add on to it, but just trying to keep that integrity of the neighborhood. I want to know if that was always part of this particular property because it's interestingly vacant.
It's technically
Well,
always been an eyesore.
It's been-
And
it's been an eyesore
so
for years.
The plan of this is to make something that looks like it belongs.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood, you know, not a shed or something that's a triangle or whatnot that just fits in the box.
Right,
you know,
well,
just-
and like you said, not having joked, did you have something to add?
I
I'm
was
sorry.
just going to
Yeah.
say that, as he said, the landowner, you know, it was going to do this to start with, and he's just carrying it
Yeah.
out.
to
Now,
fruition.
now with this rejoined parcel, rather than joined with that parcel, it's joined with this parcel.
Mm-hmm.
But the questions would basically be the same.
Sure, no, of course. I'm just curious on that. And then we talked about, you know, the neighbors of, you know, we got the letters, I appreciate that. We talked about who you were able to notify and not. Was there anyone that was not supportive that you're aware of? Okay,
The number 4, the big lot behind them, they had the most questions.
Yeah.
And I explained it to them, they talked it over and said, looks good to us.
Okay.
They were just kind of, they wanted to think about it, look at, you know, how it was going to see from their house, because they kind of had the most view of it, if you will, because the front of their house faces east into their lot, it's a flag lot.
Okay.
And they were on board.
Okay.
Said, looks good.
perfect. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. I have a question for the legal team. Everything that they're doing, is that within our codes?
I would ask staff.
What was that question?
Everything that they're doing, is that within our codes, or is that stepping outside of the line of our code, or is it gray?
No,
I'm-
they have a code, we have a code for split property that's on a road. Let me read it into you so you can understand it. Give me 1 second. So this is Section 62, 2116, parcels of land
Correct.
divided by public right-of-ways. Says for the purpose of determining building permit requirements, setback requirements, and minimum lot sizes for these lots, parcels, tracts, or parcels of real property titled under common ownership located within the unincorporated area of the county that are separated or divided by a public or private right-of-way, street, road, alley, or easement shall be defined as follows. Where the land area on each side of the public right-of-way of the road meets the minimum requirement for the lot size in the designated zoning classification, then the landowner shall be deemed the owner of two separate lots, plots, tracts, or parcels for the purpose of this chapter. Where the land area on either side of the public or private right-of-way road fails to meet the minimum requirements for the lot size in the designated zoning classification, then the landowner shall be deemed the owner of one lot, plot, tract, parcel for the purpose of this chapter, and the principal structure and dwelling shall be located on the side of the side or part having the greater land area. So that's where this property meets that code number 2.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Just step aside. Let me see if there's anyone else in the audience here for rebuttal. As I'm seeing none, I say come back to the podium. We'll make a motion to approve or disapprove. This is in District 2, and he is not here today. Is there a board discussion?
No, I've got my questions answered.
No, I'm good.
Okay, you have a question?
Oh, no, no.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so now we'll make a motion to approve or disapprove. Thank you, Mr. Bodie, for clarifying that for me. If the board approves the variance, I think I would like to limit the approval as depicted on the survey provided by the applicant with the revision date of 7/12/24. We'd like to make a motion.
That,
We looking for a second? Yeah, I'll second.
Somebody else needs to make the
Oh,
motion. As the chair cannot make a motion.
Oh,
Yeah, you
thank
can make
you.
the motion.
You're welcome.
Okay, someone else make the
Do you want me to make the
motion.
motion for you?
Yes.
Sure. Let's see, let me just make sure I'm reading it properly. Did you have that language in front of you so I read it properly?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. I'd like to make a motion to approve this variance, but limit its approval as depicted on the survey provided by the applicant with the revision date of July 12th, 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll read the 6 hardship questions. One, I'm sorry? I'll read the 6 hardship questions. That special conditions and circumstances exist which are not applicable to other land, structures, or buildings in applicable zoning classification. That the special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant. We see that it does not. That granting the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privileges that is denied by the provisions of this chapter to other lands, buildings, or structures in identical zoning classifications. That literal enforcement or the provisions of this chapter would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in identical zoning classification under the provisions of this chapter will constitute unnecessary and undue hardship on the applicant. That the variance granted is the minimum variance that would make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure, and that the granting of the variance would be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of this chapter, and that such variance would not be injurious to the area involved or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare, and it will not be. We call for a vote.
Yay.
Aye.
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 Aye. Your variance have been approved.
okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your time and effort. Thank you. Thank you, staff.
Next application, please.
Yes, item number G2, Danny Redmond and Esther Clayton Redmond request variance for wall height in the front setback in an RU-1-13 zoning classification. Application is 24V00026, and tax count number is 2606081 in District 2.
Your name and address, please. I'd like to swear you in.
Yes, Madam Chairman. I haven't been sworn. I was a little late. Do I need to be sworn in?
I'm sorry?
Do I need to be sworn in?
Yes.
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the
Correct.
record.
Yes, I'm John Campbell. My business, I'm a land surveyor, and my business is on Merritt Island, Florida.
Hey, John? John, I got a question for you. Do you have the affidavits that allows you to represent the owners of the property?
Yes, Paul, I do.
Can I get those?
Sure.
John, I need one also from Esther. Did you get one for Esther?
Paul, I got pressed into this duty late yesterday afternoon. The doctor was running around trying to get notarizations. This is the only one I have with
I
me.
sent them over to Danny and also to you, and specifically stated that I need one from both Danny and Esther because they're both on the property together.
Yes, sir, I understand what I was supposed to do, but my client didn't. And unfortunately, again, Madam Chair, let me explain to you that my client is Danny Redmond. He is a physician. He has been required to, because of his medical thing, to attend a conflict of scheduling. At the last moment, I had prepared the survey of his property. He came and asked me if I would represent him at this hearing. Again, we were scrambling, trying to get things at the last moment. I apologize.
I understand how things can happen, but since we don't have that, Mr. Bodie, I think we will postpone this.
Okay, yes, we can continue it to the next September 18th, is it?
Thank you all. I appreciate the postponement. Again, apologize because of Dr. Redmond's situation, but
Understand.
I'll be happy to come more prepared
Okay,
when I come back.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, so. Thank
Madam
you.
Chair,
We
somebody
need-
needs to make a motion to
Yeah,
continue,
we need a
please.
motion to table it or continue it to September 18th.
Someone else has to make the motion?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
I'll make a motion to table this until our next meeting in September, please.
Second the motion.
Thank
It has
you,
been
Board.
postponed. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We got to vote.
Madam Chair, please call
Oh, we
for
may
the vote.
vote. I'm sorry.
All in favor is what you
All
would
in
say.
favor?
Aye.
Very
Aye.
good.
Thank you.
Don't want Mr. Roberts to get upset.
I'm sorry. And Mr. Bodie, may we have our next applicant, please?
Yes, item G3, Randolph and Jillian Torres request variance for an accessory structure in an AU zoning classification. The application is 24V00027, and it's located at tax account number 24705 in District 1.
Is the applicant in the room? Anyone here to represent the applicant? Okay, well, I see no one's here,
right.
Mr. Bodie.
So we have 1 out of 4.
So we have to make a motion for this as well?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you want to table and continue it.
Yeah, just
If you want to
hold it in
vote to
abeyance.
deny it, because they're not here to represent themselves, you
Okay.
can make
Would
whatever
you like to make the motion?
motion that you'd like.
I made the last one.
Can you make the motion, please?
A motion to postpone or to deny?
Postpone.
Postpone? Yep. I'll make a motion to postpone this till the next meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All opposed?
all opposed.
Can't forget that.
I believe that's it for today. No other applicants, correct, Mr. Bodie?
That does it for, I guess.
Okay. Thank you.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.